You are not choosing the wrong people. You are choosing what feels familiar. Most people do not realize this until they have lived the same relationship more than once. Not the same person, the same pattern, different faces, different names, different beginnings, but somehow it's the same emotional ending. And at some point, almost quietly, a question begins to form in the background. Why does this keep happening to me? At first, it feels like bad luck. Then it feels like poor judgment. Eventually, it starts to feel personal, like there must be something wrong with you. But there is not. What is repeating in your relationships is not a flaw, it is a pattern. And patterns do not appear out of nowhere. They are learned, they are remembered, they live in the nervous system, long before they live it in the mind. As children, we do not learn what love should feel like. We learn what love does feel like. Not through explanations, not through advice, but through experience, through presence or absence, through warmth or emotional distance, through consistency or unpredictability, through moments of connection and moments of silence. Your body absorbs these experiences before you can name them. Your nervous system stores them as a reference point. So when you grow up, you do not consciously search for what is healthy. You search for what feels known. This is where many people get confused. They say, I do not understand why I am attracted to this type of person. But attraction is not a logical decision. It is a bodily response. Your nervous system is always scanning, not for safety, not for compatibility, but for familiarity, for signals that say, this feels known, this feels recognizable, this feels like home. Even when that home was emotionally unsafe, if love once felt inconsistent, your body may associate anxiety with connection. If closeness was mixed with emotional distance, you may feel drawn to people who are present one moment and unavailable the next. If affection had to be earned, you may feel most alive when you are trying to prove your worth. This is why logic rarely helps. You can know someone is wrong for you and still feel pulled toward them. You can recognize every red flag and still feel bonded because you are not responding to the person, you are responding to a familiar emotional state. For many people, intensity feels like intimacy. But intensity is often just nervous system activation, anxiety, anticipation, emotional unpredictability. Your body mistakes that activation for connection, so you chase the feeling, not realizing. The feeling is stress, dressed up as desire. That does not mean your childhood was bad. It means it was formative. As children, we adapt. We learn how to stay connected in the environment we are given. If emotional closeness required vigilance, you learned vigilance. If love came with emotional uncertainty, you learned to tolerate uncertainty. If being needed made you feel valuable, you learned to overgive. These strategies once made sense. They protected you. They helped you survive emotionally. But what works for survival does not always work for intimacy. So far, we have been talking about patterns as ideas. But patterns are not just psychological. They live in the body. Your attraction does not begin in your mind. It begins in your nervous system. Before you think, before you decide, your body has already reacted. A tightening in the chest, a subtle anxiety, a sense of anticipation. This is not intuition, it is recognition. Your body recognizes a familiar emotional environment. The nervous system does not ask whether something is good for you. It asks whether it knows how to survive here. Imagine this: you meet someone who feels different at first. There is chemistry, there is depth. They open up just enough, and then slowly they pull away. They become inconsistent, harder to reach, emotionally distant. and something in you activates. You start thinking about them more, replaying conversations, reading into messages. You tell yourself, they are just busy. If I stay calm, this will stabilize. But beneath those thoughts is an older feeling, a familiar tension, the fear that closeness could disappear at any moment. This is why calm relationships can feel unsettling. When someone is steady, emotionally available, and consistent, your body may not relax. It may feel bored or disconnected, not because something is missing, but because stress is absent. For a nervous system trained on chaos, calm feels unfamiliar. And unfamiliar can feel unsafe. Learning to tolerate calm is a skill. It requires retraining the nervous system, not forcing attraction, but allowing safety to register as connection. Patterns do not break because you understand them. They break because you relate to them differently. Awareness creates space, not instant change, but distance. And in that distance, choice becomes possible. You move slower, you pause longer, you stop chasing familiar pain, not because you forced yourself, but because your system no longer needs it. One day, you notice something subtle. You are less reactive, less compelled, less pulled, not because people changed, but because you did. You are no longer repeating a childhood bond. You are building an adult one.